Yeah, your boy is back. Listen, I'm bringing back something. Boxing egos now and then, which I think is going to be great to bring it back. We're entering 2025. Now and then, we just look at what people said then and kind of compare it to what they said now in the world of boxing. I'm real big on accountability in life, not just boxing, but boxing is a portion of my life. So this sport lacks accountability, where you'll have people who say things and make statements, and people act like they don't recall these statements being made. Once those statements, they don't age well. They age like milk instead of wine. Me, I know what I say because I'm there when I say it. If I said it, I meant it. I don't waste time. Some people think, oh, you just said that because you're trying to get views. I get views no matter what. Like, I can talk about whatever in this game. I earn my stripes. So I can get views. I don't have to do a bunch of clickbait and, trick you with the title and all this type of stuff to get viewership. I don't have to say like rage bait content to get people to want to watch Boxing Ego. It's just never been a thing. So we're bringing accountability back, and you'll see it more and more in 2025. So I figured I'll bring Now and Then back. Now, today's episode, Shakur Stevenson. You guys see my post. Does Shakur Stevenson still think that Tyson Fury would beat Muhammad Ali? And I know some people, if you're not well informed, you're not even going to remember this. Shakur Stevenson made controversial statements in 2022. Shout out to my boy Alan Dawson. You guys see it on the screen. Says Tyson Fury would have beaten Muhammad Ali in boxing. Fast rising fighter Shakur Stevenson says. So a few years ago, this is what Shakur was on. He was saying that Tyson Fury is too big and basically far too much for a guy like Muhammad Ali, who's widely considered the greatest of all time. Shakur says, and I quote, "I'm about to say something that's going to make y'all mad." So it did, in fact, make people mad. He didn't cap about that. "I'm going to say something that's going to make y'all mad," Stevenson said to the Top Rank documentary cameras, because he was with Top Rank at the time, and friends as they watched the fight. Tyson Fury would beat Muhammad Ali. Fury has a pro record of 32 wins, 23 by knockout, with 1 draw and 0 losses, right? So you guys see your boy Ego is not capping. And I find it pretty funny. This is pretty funny to me. The ironic thing is, ironically, Muhammad Ali and Usyk have some similarities, and people have pointed it out many a time. So you see Muhammad Ali stood 6'3" tall. Usyk is also 6'3" tall. So they have these like weird, eerie similarities that people have constantly, compared, right? So Shakur was adamant that Tyson Fury would beat Muhammad Ali. And I've always found those comments to be weird. But just to give you guys, I guess, an example of it, this is the comparison. So Usyk and Muhammad Ali were both born on the same day, different years, but January 17th. They're the same height, 6'3", with the same reach of 78 inches, and they both weigh roughly 220 pounds. Like that's their weight. Both Olympic gold medalists. So you see there's a lot of similarities, and they're both undisputed heavyweight champs. So shout out to the greatest, Muhammad Ali and Usyk. So it begs the question, Now and Then, Boxing Egos Now and Then, what does Shakur Stevenson feel? Does he still feel that Tyson Fury is like this unbeatable Goliath? Because the funny thing to me is I got to put on for YouTube, because I feel like YouTube boxing gets a bad rap. Now, take this with a grain of salt. I don't really watch any boxing on YouTube, so I can't speak for other channels. There's millions and billions of hours of content being uploaded in this space. So I choose not to watch it. I don't want to be influenced. I don't need to be influenced. I know what I'm seeing. So I can't speak for everybody, but I can't speak for myself, and I know what I do, and I know I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. You've never heard me say anything cockamamie like this. Yeah, I've gotten fight predictions wrong and stuff like that, but it's funny that, again, people are like, you stupid YouTubers, you're not a boxer. You don't know ish about boxing. And Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson are both very famous for doing this, where if you don't see something their way, like you don't have the same point of view, they'll easily resort to you are just a boxing fan, or you're just a YouTuber, you don't really get it, you don't know nothing about boxing, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've seen it many a times where both Shakur and Terrence Crawford act like pretty much almighty, like you don't see it my way, you don't know nothing about boxing. But here's the thing. You've never heard me say that Tyson Fury would lose to, or would beat Muhammad Ali, which is kind of a weird, there's no way to prove it. So me personally, I know for a fact that I've never said, because I don't even like saying stuff like that, because there's no way to prove it. I'm more of a stoic, and I'm more of a guy, in control of my emotions. I don't really live in some make-believe fantasy world where I just sit around thinking about, Bruce Lee versus Jackie Chan, and Bruce Lee versus Jet Li, and Donnie Yen, who would win? Like, I don't really care, because Bruce Lee's no longer here. Muhammad Ali's no longer here in this example. So there's really no way to prove it. So you can only go off of what you feel, I guess you could say. But even with that, like I said, look at their birthdays same. I mean, that don't really matter, but the height the same. They both have footwork. They both have the same reach. Fury cannot get past this guy and actually win. Now, I'm not talking about crying and saying you really won and the judges and even the AI judge had you losing. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about actual victory. Usyk bested him and much bigger guys like Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, who are bigger punchers and things like that. So if the catalyst to your argument, or Shakur's argument, and anyone who believed in that statement, most of them were saying that it was because Fury's massive size that Usyk would just get, or not Usyk, but also Muhammad Ali, they'd be no match for him. But both Usyk, both times, proved that he could get with Fury with the movement and tattered up his face. This is Fury after yesterday's fight. So I just find it ironic how people rated Fury. Like, Fury's cool. I think he's a good boxer, and there's certain things that make his style a bit tricky, right? But I never looked at Fury as he's unbeatable or whatnot. So to take a historic great like Muhammad Ali, who really it's an argument you can never win, because we can't see, they're in different eras, right? And Muhammad Ali's no longer with us. Rest in peace. But I always thought that was a weird angle. And Shakur's like, I'm gonna make y'all mad. And again, you got all these boxers who say, oh, you YouTubers are stupid and don't know nothing. But Shakur is a great boxer, and this is his level of like ring IQ. And here's the thing. I think a lot of these younger fighters that are sub 30 years old, I don't think they know boxing history as much as they think. They think they know boxing. Like, I listen to them, and some of them do interviews, and they don't even remember certain people's name. They'll be like, oh, I remember Roberto Duran fought that one guy. You mean Tommy Hearns or whatever, whoever the person is, right? I've seen it. So I really don't know how well versed, and I see it just in this generation in general. Like, you have this young generation and they like rap music, but they don't know nothing. Like, they'll hear a beat, and like somebody told me, I seen a comment where somebody said, oh, that's Trippie Redd's beat that SZA and Kendrick Lamar are using. And it's the throw some D's on that beat, which is also a sample from an R&B song, right? So you got people who is a crazy lack of awareness and just ultimately kind of a lack of knowledge of history that I noticed from this generation. Like I said, in the example, people are saying SZA and Kendrick 30 for 30 song copied Trippie Redd, but that beat was done by Rich, whatever his name is, Rich Boy. Throw some D's on that, which was also a song, Call My Name by Switch, the R&B song. So you got to be a real music head to even know these things. And a lot of people don't know these things. They think that's Trippie Redd's beat. Or Moneybagg Yo, I believe he was on like a DMX beat. That's DMX's stuff. Like, you just sampled it. Yeah, I sampled your voice. You was using it wrong. You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. Yup. Right? These young whippersnappers, these young Thundercats, they don't really know that. And Shakur, okay, I'm older than Shakur, and Muhammad Ali's not even my generation, for real, but I did my homework, obviously, on Muhammad Ali. And if that's the case and I'm older than Shakur, then I know Muhammad Ali's definitely not his generation because he was born later. So to speak on it and then make these comments like, oh, Tyson's just way too much for Muhammad Ali, I don't know. I question that knowledge. I'm not saying you don't know anything about boxing. Clearly Shakur does, but you see Fury's face. He fought a 6'3" Usyk who came from cruiserweight, and he keep getting beat up. He was hurt in both fights, and now he's talking about I might do, I might not. And this is Fury discussing if he'll ever retire or if he'll ever fight again versus retire. And this is the guy that Shakur, and you guys were rocking with it, said, you know, Muhammad Ali couldn't beat, but Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman. Listen, again, Tyson Fury, he's cool, but I never thought Tyson Fury was who a lot of y'all said. You know, people are like, oh, but he beat Wilder. But yeah, you guys bash Wilder and say he lacks technique. You know what I mean? So the Klitschko fight was pretty boring. You know, his record is 34-2. This man was like, no man from his mother's womb can defeat me. I'm the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. That's all they want. You know, doing all this pirate talk and all that. And you talked all this ish about Usyk. He's a middleweight. He's a rabbit, a gappy tooth rabbit. You did, you did all this, and you can't beat Gappy Tooth Rabbit. And this is the guy. This is your king that y'all said would dethrone and like demolish Muhammad Ali. So I'm very curious. I seen Shakur was like, "Oh, I apologize," and he picked Fury in the rematch. Listen, if I'm just a stupid YouTuber, how come I keep getting it right? I picked Usyk the first fight, I was right. I picked Usyk second fight, I was right. I picked Beterbiev versus Bivol, I was right. Shakur picked Bivol, he was wrong. Shakur picked Tyson Fury in both fights and said he could beat Muhammad Ali, he was wrong. So, you know, to me, some of this stuff ain't adding up. Maybe I know a little bit of something. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I do know a little bit of something because I never thought Fury was who you guys said he was. Good fighter, talent, he got some skill. But if we're really looking through his resume, he struggled. Wilder knocked him down like 5 times, and this is a guy you said has no technique. Ngannou knocked him down in his first pro boxing fight. Otto Wallin cut his whole up, and then there was a sense of urgency because they ran and snitched and said, hey, this is open scoring or whatever. They said he got a cut, and he's up on the card. So Fury started fighting with the sense of urgency. Chisora is like an older fighter. Dillian White been knocked out by Joshua and Povetkin. So it's like, what are like these fights? These are like kind of domestic level wins. You know, the Wilder wins was good. Otto Wallin, like I said, was giving you all you can handle. Tom Schwartz was ranked, but nobody knew or cared about him. This is his resume. Francisco Pinata, the man is named after a pinata. Sefer, the guy got 2 first names. Seferi, you know what I mean? Who are these guys? You never heard, after Fury fought him in 2018, you never heard him in the heavyweight division again. And then the Klitschko win, I respect it. It's cool. You beat Klitschko. Klitschko kind of fought a weird fight, but he was older, and it was a boring fight. You know, and then Christian Hammer, you already beat Chisora, and Steve Cunningham dropped you. So that's what I'm saying. I'm curious how many, like, because a lot of you guys are just relying on what boxers or trainers or former fighters are saying, but there's different politics, different reasons for people to say different things, or different associations, or they met the fighter so they don't want to say nothing bad or whatever. I'm keeping it real and telling you what it is. And I never seen what you guys seen in Tyson Fury. Yes, he's cool, but he had a fight with McDermott and they said it was a robbery. Look, I got robbed against Tyson Fury. Even John Fury, his dad, told me I won. Now I work in rubbish clearance. I mean, I don't know about the rubbish, garbage man stuff, but this guy fought Fury when he was 21, and he's a domestic level guy, John McDermott, and he gave Fury all he can handle. And he says Big Bad John came into the clash off the back of the 2 decision defeats to Danny Williams, blah, blah, blah. It's a surprise. I definitely won it, mate. I don't know how the referee scored it, 8 rounds to him and 2 to me. Fury didn't say a word. I was literally waiting in the changing room for someone to come in and say there's been a mistake, blah, blah, blah. So Fury's been had this where it's like, and he's failed drug tests. And then people have the audacity, like Shakur, to even associate his name with a GOAT like Muhammad Ali, and then say Muhammad Ali would lose to him, and he can't even beat someone with a similar stature who I take nothing. I like Usyk. I've always been vocal about liking Usyk, but we don't know how Usyk would fare with a Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? Because I think the heavyweight division of old, in boxing in general, they were just more men's men. You know what I mean? They're like the grit, the determination, power. It was a different time. Like most fighters of today, I don't think would fare in those times where you just based on the 15 rounds. Like Muhammad Ali went 15 rounds and was still good for that, right? I don't know if Usyk or Fury or whoever could go 15 rounds. I don't, because that's no longer the era we're in where 15 rounders occur. Fury looked gassed in this fight with Usyk in the back half of the fight. He looked fat, sloppy as sick, flabby as sick, and he was out of breath, breathing heavy. So I'm not going to and he's like non-disciplined, be drinking and drugs and all this crazy thoughts and all that. So I don't know. I don't even think Fury's disciplined enough to go 15 rounds, to be honest with you, because that's 15 rounds a lot. That's an extra 3 rounds. 3 rounds, it might, like 3 times 3, you know what I mean? That's like you're in there almost an extra 10 minutes of fighting. Like that's a lot, because again, I see guys nowadays, they don't have the cardio to look good in the back half of the fight. So I'm curious what Shakur Stevenson has to say about what he previously said. And we need to hold people accountable. You said it and you felt comfortable saying it on wax. So what do you have to say for yourself? Because I'm a YouTuber. I can't run. There ain't no running from it, because I have to make out and put out new videos, right? So if I get something wrong, I know y'all all be in the comment section happy. Oh, Ego, you finally got something wrong. Y'all love it. Y'all love it. Y'all try to taunt me and your channel sucks because you got one thing wrong. I get 99 things right, and then one thing I get wrong, you guys leave stupid comments, you know what I mean? But then I'll be watching these boxers, fight prediction after fight prediction be wrong. Other content creators, fight prediction after fight prediction be wrong. People be putting clickbait in their titles. The news don't be right. Tank's fighting, Tank, there's no money for Tank's fight. The Lamont Roach is canceled. And then he announces he's fighting Lamont Roach. It was just postponed. So y'all be lying. Y'all be clickbaiting. Let's get boxing back to some accountability. And the funny thing is, I don't give a like, hold me accountable. I'm not saying, exclude me and hold everybody else. Hold everybody out this mug accountable. I'm good with that. But including the fighters and people like Shakur Stevenson, when he's saying this, like, Muhammad Ali, he'll lose. Y'all gonna be mad. Yeah, you're right. People gonna be mad because Fury, he's good, but is he really what you're saying he is? Because Muhammad Ali was what they said he was, inside and outside the ring. I shook up the world. You know what I mean? That's Muhammad Ali. So it's like, I recommend this new generation, if you don't really know the history, like you think you know it, you probably shouldn't even opine on some of these things, because What is the benefit? And see, that's why you never see Boxing Ego really speak down on the legends, because they paved the way. They are pioneers, you know, and people have a soft spot in their heart for these fighters. So you've never heard me talk bad about Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or Floyd Sr., Roger Mayweather, Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. I've never really said anything crazy about them, you know, because these are the legends of the sport. Tommy Hearns, you know, James Toney, Roy Jones. I don't really say, you could say certain things like, oh, I think Roy Jones should retire now, stuff like that. I'm not anti being real, you know, or you could say, oh, Chavez, that was a robbery. Pernell Whitaker, another legend, beat him. But you never heard me say no stuff like Muhammad Ali would not fare well or lose to Tyson Fury because he's too big. Fury seems actually to have a lot of issue with smaller men. Again, John McDermott, Steve Cunningham, all of these fights, you could go back and watch them. Usyk 2 times. Otto Vailin, all these guys were mad. Everybody's smaller than Tyson Fury. And he been dropped. He got dropped by a cruiserweight Steve Cunningham. Man, come on, bro. And we talking Muhammad Ali. Boxing Ego now and then. Stop playing with me.